Battle Through the Heavens, Chapter 110, The Rare Blood Lotus Essence, and the Renowned White-Clad Physician. Having survived the brutal trials of the scorching wilderness, Xiaoyan finally arrives at the bustling gateway of Xianxia town. But as he navigates the mercenary-filled streets, a sudden discovery in a local stall catches the attention of the master within his ring. This rare find could be the vital key needed for the next stage of his dangerous cultivation path.
The Blood Lotus essence was a high-grade medicinal ingredient, a rare find that usually grew alongside Yellow Lotus essence. Their outward appearances were nearly identical. To an untrained eye, they were impossible to distinguish. If Yao Lao had not let out that sharp, startled sound in his mind, Xiaoyan would have walked right past it. He would have missed the very thing he had been searching for. The Blood Lotus essence was a core component for refining the Blood Lotus pill. That pill was vital for the strange cultivation technique he practiced, the flame mantra. Xiaoyan knew the flame mantra required him to swallow heavenly flames to evolve. But consuming such a flame was no simple feat. Heavenly flames were violent and destructive. They did not just burn flesh, they could melt through the toughest metals. To pull one into his body and refine it, he needed protection. The Blood Lotus pill provided that shield. Once swallowed, the pill coated the body in a strange blood crust that resisted extreme heat. It was the only way to get close to a heavenly flame and survive. Xiaoyan had searched Wutan City for the ingredients Yao Lao listed, but he had found nothing. He never expected to stumble upon such a rare find the moment he arrived in a new place. He forced his breathing to stay steady, shoving the surge of joy deep down. Under the impatient gaze of the shop assistant, he tossed the Blood Lotus essence in his palm like it was a common stone. He let out a casual hum and looked up with a smile.
Do you have more Yellow Lotus essence? I want to buy a large amount.
The assistant blinked, his eyes scanning Xiaoyan with doubt. Yellow Lotus essence cost 100 gold coins apiece. Buying in bulk was expensive. But when the man's eyes landed on the storage ring on Xiaoyan's finger, his suspicion vanished. A fawning grin took its place.
Sir, please wait. I will get them immediately.
Xiaoyan nodded and looked away from the Blood Lotus essence. He hummed a tuneless note and scanned the other shelves, pretending to be bored. The assistant returned a moment later with a small wooden box. He set it on the counter.
Sir, we have 53 pieces of Yellow Lotus essence here. Will you take them all?
Xiaoyan looked into the box. His hope flickered and died. There was not a second Blood Lotus essence hidden among them. He kept the disappointment off his face and picked out 20 pieces. He dropped the Blood Lotus essence he was holding into the pile and gestured to the assistant.
Wrap these up. I will take them.
That will be 2,400 gold coins, sir.
Xiaoyan flicked his finger. A pale green card appeared in his hand. He settled the debt, swept the herbs into his storage ring, and let out a long, silent breath of relief. He paused for a second before the assistant could walk away.
Was this Yellow Lotus essence found in the Magical Beast mountain range?
Yes,
the assistant said, his voice bright after making a big sale.
the mountains are rich with herbs. Our Van Duik Tri has its own harvesting teams. Though we spend a fortune on mercenary groups to protect them every time they go in.
Xiaoyan nodded and turned to leave, but a sudden roar of noise from the storefront stopped him.
Look, it is the little fairy doctor. She is so beautiful. Look at those legs and that waist.
Quiet, you idiot. Do you want to die? Half the mercenaries in Qingshan town have been treated by her. If they hear you, they will cut your tongue out.
Xiaoyan watched two men nearby. One made a crude joke, and his friend immediately yanked him back, hissing at him. The pale-faced jokester realized the angry stares coming his way and hurried out of the shop.
Who is this little fairy doctor?
Xiaoyan wondered. He leaned to the side, peering through the gaps in the crowd. A woman in white stood there, surrounded by a swarm of people. The crowd parted, and Xiaoyan finally saw her clearly. She wore a pale white dress. While not a peerless beauty, she was striking. A calm, fresh grace radiated from her, making her presence feel ethereal. His gaze traveled over her and stopped at the green sash tied around her slender waist. Of all the women Xiaoyan knew, Xiao Shuner was the most moving, possessed by a mysterious beauty. Ya Fei was a seductive temptress. Xiao Yu had those long, shapely legs that always drew his eyes. But this woman in white had the most delicate, narrow waist he had ever seen. Xiaoyan clicked his tongue in appreciation. The shop assistant leaned in, whispering with a grin.
The little fairy doctor is our special physician at Dou Qi. Everyone in Xingshan town adores her. Whenever she goes into the mountains to pick herbs, mercenaries drop their prices just for a chance to go with her. They practically fight over the remaining spots in her guard.
A physician?
Xiaoyan asked, surprised.
She is not an alchemist?
Physicians were similar to alchemists, but their status was much lower. They could not truly refine pills. They used ordinary flames to mix herbs together for basic healing. It was a world away from the power of an alchemist. Most physicians dreamed of crossing that threshold, but without talent or a mentor, they remained stuck on the outside. Xiaoyan had seen the healing medicines on the counter earlier and assumed she was an alchemist.
If it were that easy to become an alchemist, the profession would not be so rare,
the assistant said with a shrug. Xiaoyan did not ask further. He watched the woman sit down to examine a patient. Her smile was kind and genuine. It was no wonder these rough, violent mercenaries turned into gentle lambs in her presence. He watched her for a moment longer before stepping out of Dou Qi. The sun was setting as he found an inn at a crossroads and rented a room. Once the door was shut, he let out a heavy breath. He gripped the hilt of the heavy sword on his back. With a low grunt, he unstrapped the massive blade and leaned it against the wall.
Yao Lao had told him never to take it off, even while sleeping, but Xiaoyan was not strong enough for that yet. Yao Lao allowed him this small mercy at night. The moment the weight left his body, the Dou Qi inside him surged like a flooding river. He took a deep breath. Every pore on his skin seemed to open up. He let out a groan of pure satisfaction. The sudden rush of power was intoxicating. He rubbed his aching shoulders and pulled the pile of yellow lotus essence from his ring. He separated the blood lotus essence and placed it carefully into a white jade box. The rest of the common herbs were tossed back into storage.
I have the blood lotus essence. Now I just need ice spirit flame grass and a rank 4 ice attribute monster core to refine the blood lotus pill.
He patted the jade box and sighed.
This is going to be a lot of work. Just finding the ingredients for one pill is exhausting. Swallowing a heavenly flame is not going to be easy.
He shook his head, his body feeling heavy and numb. He dropped his head onto the soft bed. Sleep hit him like a physical blow, dragging his exhausted mind into the dark.